Most people think fat loss starts with the body, counting calories, burning more, eating less. But in reality, the process begins in the brain. Before you ever lace up your running shoes or choose between a salad and a slice of pizza, your brain has already set the tone for your decisions, your hunger, your motivation, and even how your body stores or burns fat. And this is where we gain leverage, not just through willpower, but through understanding the systems in place that control how fat loss actually happens. There's a specific region in your brain called the hypothalamus. Think of it as the command center for your metabolism. It receives constant feedback from your body about your energy stores, nutrient levels, and hormone activity. Hormones like leptin and ghrelin, these are the real players here. Leptin is released by your fat cells and tells your brain that you have enough energy stored. Ghrelin, on the other hand, signals hunger. When these are out of balance, which happens when you're sleep, deprived, stressed, or constantly eating processed foods, your brain gets confused. You feel hungrier, your cravings increase, and your body starts storing more fat even if you're not eating more than usual. But here's the incredible part. You can actually train your brain to support fat loss. Not by forcing it, but by working with it. One way is by regulating dopamine, your brain's motivation chemical. When you align your dopamine system with your fat loss goals, you start craving the process itself, not just the results. That means looking forward to your training, feeling satisfaction from eating nutrient-dense foods, and getting a reward from consistency, not just the number on the scale. This rewiring happens when you start attaching meaning to the actions that support your health. Every time you push through a workout, every time you delay gratification by skipping sugar, your brain gets the signal that this is a valuable, rewarding behavior. Over time, it reinforces that pattern. Now, your autonomic nervous system also plays a role in fat loss. Specifically, your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight mode, can be harnessed to mobilize fat stores. Things like cold exposure, high-intensity interval training, or even deliberate breathing protocols can stimulate this system. But the key isn't to overactivate it all day. It's about creating controlled stressors that your brain interprets as opportunities to burn stored energy. That's how you strategically tap into fat metabolism without sending your body into panic or burnout. Even your environment feeds into this brain-body loop. Bright artificial lights late at night suppress melatonin, which messes with sleep and hormonal repair cycles. Social media notifications constantly spike dopamine in unnatural ways, reducing your motivation to chase long-term goals like fat loss. Every decision you make, from what you eat to when you sleep, tells your brain something. If you want to lose fat effectively, you need to teach your brain that you are in control, that it can relax, and that energy balance is being managed intelligently and consistently. And this is where people often go wrong. They try to outwork the system. They think they can punish their way to fat loss by exercising more or starving themselves. But if your brain is not on board, if it thinks you're under threat or in a state of deprivation, it will fight back. It will slow your metabolism, increase cravings, and drive you toward habits that make fat loss even harder. That's why understanding this science is so empowering. It doesn't mean you have to become a neuroscientist. It just means you get to work smarter. You learn how to use biology to your advantage. When you start to see fat loss as a brain-driven process, everything changes. It's no longer about discipline alone. It becomes about alignment. Aligning your brain chemistry, your hormones, your habits, and your environment with a goal that your whole system believes in. When that happens, fat loss becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Control your brain, and your body will follow. One of the most powerful and misunderstood tools for fat loss is fasting. Not starving yourself, but using the timing of your meals to unlock biological processes that your body is designed to use. And it's not about some trendy diet or extreme approach. It's about working with your physiology, not against it. The human body is built to thrive in cycles of eating and not eating. For thousands of years, this was just part of daily life. But now, with constant access to food, most people are eating from the moment they wake up until the minute they go to bed. That never gives the body a chance to enter the state where real fat burning happens. When you fast strategically, meaning you delay your first meal of the day and avoid late night snacking, you're allowing your body to shift from burning glucose to burning stored fat. There's a hormone that plays a major role here, insulin. Every time you eat, insulin goes up. When insulin is elevated, fat burning is turned off. But when you go for several hours without food, insulin drops and your body switches over to burning stored fat for fuel. It's a natural metabolic switch, and when you give it time to flip, you tap into a powerful energy source that most people rarely access. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. During fasting, especially early in the day, adrenaline and noradrenaline levels increase slightly. These are the same chemicals that heighten focus and drive. So not only are you burning more fat, but you're also sharpening your mind. This is why so many people report feeling more energized, not less, during fasted states. The brain becomes more alert when you haven't eaten because, from an evolutionary standpoint, your body thinks it's time to hunt. It prepares you to move, to think, to take action. That's a state you can use to your advantage. One of the best times to train, especially for fat loss, is in a fasted state. When you exercise without having eaten, your body can't pull from incoming glucose, so it's forced to use stored fat. Zone 2 cardio, walking, light jogging, cycling, done in this fasted window can be especially effective. And you don't need hours. Even 20 to 30 minutes can initiate a powerful metabolic response. Add some sunlight exposure early in the day, and you compound the effect. Increased cortisol at the right time, better circadian alignment, and improved fat oxidation. But this isn't about pushing yourself into extreme hunger. In fact, once you adapt to fasting, hunger signals become more predictable and manageable. Ghrelin, the hormone that makes you feel hungry, operates on a rhythm. If you normally eat at 8 a.m., you'll feel hungry at 8 a.m., but if you shift your eating window over time, say starting at 11 a.m., ghrelin will adjust. It takes a little consistency, but the body learns. You're not suppressing hunger, you're reprogramming it. What's critical here is that fasting works best when it's paired with nutrient-dense meals during your eating window. High protein, healthy fats, and fiber-rich vegetables stabilize blood sugar and give your brain the signal that you're well fed. That reduces the likelihood of binging or crashing. It's not just about skipping meals, it's about creating a structured rhythm where your body knows when to burn and when to refuel. That rhythm aligns with your natural hormonal patterns, reinforcing fat-burning pathways rather than disrupting them. And for those wondering how long to fast, even 12 to 14 hours between dinner and your next meal is enough to see real changes. You don't need to push into 18 or 20-hour fasts unless it feels right for you. The key is consistency. Small, sustainable windows done daily build momentum. They regulate insulin, boost metabolic flexibility, and teach your system to burn fat more efficiently over time. This isn't a hack or a shortcut, it's physiology. It's the way your body was meant to operate. When you learn to time your meals with intention, you unlock a biological advantage that no supplement or workout can replace. You're no longer forcing fat loss, you're activating it. Use time, not just effort, as your fat loss lever. When it comes to training for fat loss, most people immediately think high intensity, sweat pouring, pushing to the edge every single time. But that mindset, while admirable, often misses a critical piece of the equation. The truth is, one of the most effective ways to lose fat isn't about going harder, it's about going smarter. There's a very specific type of training that taps directly into your body's fat-burning systems, and it's called Zone 2 cardio. Zone 2 isn't about pushing to exhaustion, it's actually a lower intensity effort. Something like a brisk walk, a light jog, a steady bike ride. You're breathing a little heavier than normal, but you can still hold a conversation. This is where your body is most efficient at using fat as fuel. Inside your muscle cells, you have tiny engines called mitochondria. When you train in Zone 2, you increase the number and function of those mitochondria. That means over time, your body becomes better at converting stored fat into usable energy, not just during exercise, but even at rest. This is the kind of adaptation that builds long-term metabolic health, not just quick fixes. And if you're combining this with fasted training, especially in the morning, the effects are amplified. Your body isn't relying on glucose from a recent meal, it's pulling from fat stores. You're teaching your system to be metabolically flexible, to shift easily between fuel sources depending on the demand. That flexibility is what separates people who struggle with fat loss from those who seem to stay lean without extreme effort. But that's only one part of the equation. Resistance training, lifting weights, bodyweight exercises, or even strength circuits plays a massive role in sustainable fat loss. Why? Because muscle is metabolically active tissue. The more lean muscle you carry, the more calories your body burns at rest. Even when you're sleeping or sitting, muscle demands energy, so every workout that challenges your muscles isn't just burning calories in the moment, it's creating a long-term metabolic shift that supports fat burning 24/7. Now, you don't need to become a bodybuilder. The goal isn't size, it's strength and activation. Training major muscle groups with compound movements like squats, push-ups, rows, and presses signals your body to hold onto lean tissue, especially when in a calorie deficit. That's crucial. During fat loss, without resistance training, the body will break down both fat and muscle. But when you lift, you protect that muscle and signal the body to pull more from fat instead. The magic really happens when you combine the two, steady state Zone 2 to enhance fat oxidation and resistance training to build and preserve lean muscle. Together, they form a metabolic engine that runs efficiently, burns cleaner, and supports your goals with less volatility. You're not relying on sheer willpower anymore. You're using biology to do the heavy lifting. Train with purpose, not just intensity. If you're trying to lose fat and you're not prioritizing sleep, you're missing one of the most powerful fat loss tools available. People often talk about diet and exercise, which of course matter, but sleep is the foundation that determines how well your body responds to both. Without quality sleep, the hormones that regulate hunger, fat storage, and energy expenditure become completely disrupted. And this isn't just about feeling tired the next day. This is about deep biological processes that either support or sabotage your fat loss efforts. When you sleep, your body undergoes a complex hormonal reset. Growth hormone is released in pulses, especially during the early stages of deep sleep. This hormone plays a major role in fat metabolism, cellular repair, and the maintenance of lean muscle. If you're cutting calories or pushing your body through workouts, you need growth hormone to help you recover and preserve muscle. Without enough sleep, those hormone pulses are weaker or shorter, meaning your body doesn't get the signal to recover properly or to prioritize fat burning during rest. Sleep also has a direct effect on cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol isn't inherently bad. It helps regulate blood sugar, blood pressure, and inflammation, but it has to follow a healthy rhythm. It should rise in the morning to wake you up and fall in the evening to help you wind down. When sleep is irregular or too short, cortisol stays elevated for too long. That elevation increases cravings, especially for high sugar, high-fat foods, and it also promotes fat storage, particularly around the midsection. You might be eating well during the day, but if your sleep is poor, your brain interprets that as stress and shifts into survival mode, hoarding fat even when there's no need to. One of the most overlooked aspects of sleep and fat loss is insulin sensitivity. After just one night of poor sleep, your body becomes more insulin resistant. That means it doesn't handle carbohydrates as effectively, and more of those carbs get stored as fat instead of being used for energy. So even if you're eating the same meals, your body processes them differently depending on how well you slept. And over time, this effect compounds, making fat loss slower and more frustrating than it needs to be. Another thing to understand is that sleep also affects leptin and GREL, in the hormones that regulate hunger and fullness. When you're sleep deprived, ghrelin goes up and leptin goes down. You feel hungrier, you crave more dense foods, and you're less satisfied when you eat. It's not a lack of discipline. It's a chemical shift in the brain that makes sticking to your plan significantly harder. To use sleep as a fat loss tool, the target should be consistency, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends. A dark, cool room, limited screen exposure before bed, and avoiding caffeine later in the day can all dramatically improve your sleep quality. Even if you're training hard and eating clean, without that deep, restorative sleep, your body will always be playing catch-up. Prioritize sleep, and fat loss becomes a natural byproduct. Fat loss isn't just about what you eat or how you move, it's also about how you expose your body to different temperatures. The nervous system responds strongly to both cold and heat, and when used strategically, these environmental tools can activate metabolic pathways that support fat burning in powerful ways. It's not about extremes or discomfort for the sake of it. It's about using biology to your advantage. Let's start with cold exposure. When your body is exposed to cold, especially through methods like cold showers, ice baths, or even just going outside in cooler temperatures with minimal insulation, something remarkable happens. Your body activates brown adipose tissue or brown fat. Unlike regular white fat that stores energy, brown fat burns calories to produce heat and keep your core temperature stable. This isn't just a small effect. It can significantly increase your resting energy expenditure when done consistently. The body has to work harder to maintain temperature, and it pulls from stored fat to do it. Even more interesting is how the brain responds. Cold exposure increases the release of norepinephrine, a chemical that not only boosts alertness, but also supports the mobilization of fat. It sends a signal to the body, we need energy, and we need it now. This prompts the release of fatty acids into the bloodstream, which can be burned for fuel. Short bursts of cold exposure, just a few minutes, done regularly, can have a compounding effect over time. And when paired with movement, like a brisk walk after the exposure, the fat burning process becomes even more efficient. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, heat, especially from sauna use, also plays a role. When you sit in a sauna for even 15 to 20 minutes, your core body temperature rises, your heart rate increases, and blood flow improves. That mild stress on the system stimulates the production of heat shock proteins and growth hormone, both of which are associated with improved fat metabolism and muscle preservation. Over time, regular heat exposure can enhance your endurance, reduce inflammation, and support fat loss without additional training. The real power comes from understanding that your body is highly responsive to environmental stressors. You're not just passively experiencing temperature, you're activating systems that are designed to keep you lean, resilient, and metabolically efficient. When you tap into that, you gain an edge that most people overlook. Use temperature as a tool and you'll unlock a hidden layer of fat burning potential. When people think about fat loss, they usually jump straight to cutting calories or adding more workouts. But there's a smarter, science-backed layer to this process, and that's the strategic use of supplements and nutrition tools that work in harmony with your brain and body. These aren't shortcuts, they're enhancers. When used correctly, they can shift your internal environment in ways that make fat burning more efficient and sustainable. Take caffeine, for example. It's one of the most well-studied fat-burning compounds, but the timing is everything. When consumed in the morning, Especially 90 to 120 minutes after waking, it increases alertness and mobilizes fat for energy. It stimulates the release of adrenaline and boosts thermogenesis, which is your body's way of producing heat by burning calories. But when used too late in the day, it disrupts sleep, and that can backfire. So it's not just what you take, it's when you take it. Another effective tool is green tea extract. It contains compounds like egg that work synergistically with caffeine to further boost fat oxidation. It doesn't have to be in pill form either, just drinking high-quality green tea daily can support your metabolism and help stabilize energy throughout the day, especially if you're training or fasting. Then there's berberine, a natural compound that helps regulate blood sugar. Stable blood sugar levels reduce insulin spikes, and when insulin is low, the body is better able to access stored fat for fuel. This is critical because large fluctuations in blood sugar can lead to crashes, cravings, and fat storage. Berberine acts similarly to metformin in some ways, improving insulin sensitivity without pharmaceuticals. But again, it's not magic on its own. It works best alongside proper nutrition and activity. Speaking of nutrition, the base always has to be real, whole food. Prioritize protein. It's thermogenic, meaning your body burns more calories digesting it than carbs or fats. It also helps preserve lean muscle, which keeps your metabolism high. Pair that with fiber-rich vegetables and healthy fats, and you create meals that keep you full, nourish your brain, and support hormonal balance. When you eat this way consistently, your brain registers that you're getting what you need, cravings drop, energy steadies, fat burning becomes the default state, not a forced one. The goal isn't to rely on supplements or chase trends. It's to use what science shows actually works, at the right dose, at the right time, with the right foundation. Combine that with quality sleep, movement, and environmental tools, and you have a complete, sustainable fat loss strategy. Fuel your biology wisely, and your results will follow naturally. Fat loss isn't just about discipline or effort. It's about alignment. When you understand how your brain drives your behavior, how your body responds to time-restricted eating, how low-intensity cardio and resistance training complement each other, and how sleep, temperature, and targeted nutrition influence your biology, you stop guessing and start leading. You're no longer at war with your body, you're working with it. Every choice becomes a signal, every habit becomes a lever. This is the science of transformation. You don't need extreme measures. You need consistent, intelligent actions rooted in how your body and brain were designed to operate. Use the tools, trust the process. Let your biology do the work.